there is a growing optimism that he will be part of Manchester United's squad for their pre-season tour of the United States, and they take off for that tour on Tuesday.
OK, so a bit of a rush from a Manchester United point of view. Brentford ended the season in such great shape, but they've now lost their manager, gone to Tottenham. They've lost their captain, gone to Arsenal. Now they've lost their top scorer off to Manchester United. Where does it leave them?
I mean, they have got good money for Bryan Mbeumo. They have got good money for Christian Norgard as well, who you mentioned has gone to Arsenal. It was, of course, a big blow losing Thomas Frank, the head coach, who went to Tottenham Hotspur. But focus will now, I guess, be on Johan Wissa. And the noises we've been hearing throughout this transfer window is that Brentford do not want to sell both Bryan Mbeumo and Johan Wissa in the same transfer window. Now, we do know that alongside the interest in Bryan Mbeumo from Manchester United, there has been big interest in Johan Wissa, not least from Newcastle United. Because
already signed, and Mbeumo looks like he's well on his way. Where will they shift their focus next, do you think?
In a word, exits. I think they want to generate some money, particularly from those 5 players that they gave a little bit of extra time to try and sort out their futures. Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Alejandro Garnacho, Antony and Tyrell Malacia. Let's start with Rashford. Juventus, we're told, have explored the conditions of a deal for Marcus Rashford, as have Barcelona. We know Barcelona have got a long-standing interest, and it's mutual because Marcus Rashford wants to go to Barcelona. However, the transfer fee and the personal terms, both of those could prove to be stumbling blocks. Hence why, after he went on loan to Aston Villa last season, for the second half of last season, you can't rule out another loan in this transfer window either. I think it would suit Barcelona, probably not so much Manchester United, because
it's Rashford. Now, Barcelona have a broad agreement in principle with Manchester United over signing Marcus Rashford. I can tell you talks are ongoing over a loan with an option to buy. Now, one source has told Sky Sports News the discussions will now centre on the portion of wage payment that Barcelona will make and a possible compensation should Barcelona not take up the option to buy Rashford at the end of that loan. The player...
Conceição or Sancho, but the information that we're getting is that a deal for Sancho to Juventus has not been ruled out, but it is thought there would have to be departures at Juventus for them to be able to fund a deal for Sancho. Now, significantly, Marseille are in talks with Juventus over a potential deal for Timothy Weah. Now, that could help Juventus fund a deal for Jadon Sancho. Talks between United and Juve are open, as are talks between Juve and Sancho's representatives. As yet, there's not been an agreement on either. So there hasn't been an agreement on a transfer fee. And we talked about Rashford's wages. Sancho's on big wages as well. So Juventus remain in talks with his representatives over trying to find an agreement on the personal terms. It feels like the more problematic one would be the personal terms. And then Juventus could probably negotiate on the transfer fee with regard to Jadon Sancho. So no agreement on either front yet, but we think that Sancho's asking price is around £25 million, which is what Chelsea would have had to have paid had they taken up their obligation at the end of last season. Antony, meanwhile, Real Betis, we know they remain desperate to sign Antony. Antony wants to go to Real Betis, had a really successful second half of last season at Real Betis. Difficult deal again for Real Betis to do, given the finances involved. But